Well, we've passed 6 bills in Michigan into law this year, which is the lowest total since 1940. And the reason for that is because the legislature did not meet in 1940. So it's
Hello and welcome to the ALEC 52nd Annual Meeting in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Lars Daleside, and joining me right now is Michigan Speaker of the House, Matt Hall. Matt, appreciate you swinging by.
Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. So there's been a lot of going on in Michigan right now. After the elections, a little bit of turnover, and all of a sudden the Republicans come up and take the lead overall. Were we anticipating this as things were about to break loose in November, or was this a bit of a surprise?
Well, I think in Michigan, Democrats controlled everything. They called that a trifecta. And Michigan was the first state in the country last year to raise the income tax, and the only state. They increased government spending. It's been up 43% under Governor Whitmer in Michigan. So I think the people saw the state of Michigan deviating from some of the core ALEC principles of limited government and free markets. So they elected a new House leadership in Michigan to bring divided government to Michigan, and so now we have a Republican House with a Democrat governor and a Democrat Senate, and they elected me Speaker. So we took over and immediately passed 2 important pieces of legislation. One was changing our paid sick leave law to ensure that every Michigan worker will have paid time off when they need it, but they'll also have a job. So we wanted to make sure some of the policies that were pursued by what I would call radical left activist groups, it would have led to the closure of many businesses. So we wanted to protect paid sick leave. We just wanted to make sure they also had a job and it worked for the employer.
It's always a good thing to have after the sick leave is over.
Right. And then we were able to protect the restaurant tip credit. In Michigan, these left-wing activist groups were pushing to change the minimum wage so that restaurant wages would go up about 240% overnight. We saw a lot of restaurants facing closure in Michigan, so we were able to resolve that too and ensure that the tip credit system was preserved. So those were 2 big wins, I think, for free market principles and limited government early in our term. But since then, we haven't seen a lot of activity because Democrats in Michigan continue to pursue what I would describe as policies that do not align with ALEC principles, and so they're not going very far in the state of Michigan.
Well, it's interesting overall. You talk about preserving the tip credit overall. Being a D.C. native, I say D.C. native, I was born there and lived there for all of 6 months, but still a native of the D.C. area, there was a lot of back and forth when they were trying to do the same thing, and they got the minimum wage, and there were those of us who were saying that you do that, the wages are going to go up, the prices are going to go up, and all of a sudden the restaurants are going to be shutting down. And like, no, that's not going to. And sure enough, it did. And then, of course, we all read the headlines about what happened out in California as well. And as you're saying, these are just basic free market principles that one would hope that they'd adhere to. But now you have the divided houses. You've got the governor from the Democratic side over there. Are we getting the lesser of 2 evils as the one bill and then the other bill in the House and one in the Senate until you're sort of coming down with something that nobody is all that too happy with, but you can live with, or?
Well, we've passed 6 bills in Michigan into law this year, which is the lowest total since 1940. And the reason for that is because the legislature did not meet in 1940. So it's different back then. So it's been a slow start, but there's a lot of good things that the House has moved. Our biggest priority has been fixing Michigan's roads, but we want to do that without raising taxes. I mentioned how spending increased 43% under Governor Whitmer, in her 6 years.
Right.
We can invest some of that money into roads, and we've shown how we can do it. And we can do it by ending a lot of the big corporate giveaways and dedicating all of the money collected at the pump to roads, rather than what Governor Whitmer proposes, which is raising the corporate income tax on every business in Michigan. I reminded her recently, she's writing very large checks to try to attract businesses to our state. and they argue all of the suppliers will come with the business. Said, well, then all of those suppliers would be paying this higher corporate income tax, and so it just won't work that way. We want to have limited government, and we want to have free markets, and so what we believe is that we should instead we should create a good regulatory environment, a good tax environment in Michigan, work to have affordable energy policies, and that will attract many businesses to our state without us having to write these kind of checks.
Yeah, and you're seeing that type of results. So when you're looking at Texas, when you're looking at Florida, when you're looking at Tennessee, you have these different states that you lower the corporate a little, you ease up in the regulations, and magically businesses are like, wow, it's easy to do business here. This is great. We're going to expand, we're going to hire new people, we're going to put out more product, and all of a sudden the economy goes up. It's amazing that some folks are hearing to more like, no, the only way to actually improve revenues is to tax more, which will of course then drive things out.
Right.
But that's, I guess it's one philosophy over the other. But I really wanted to hit on last summer. I know that you were busy, rallying support there in Michigan, but also you took part in an ALEC trip down to the border in Eagle Pass, Texas, to see what the situation was. And this was in the summer, May or something like that. Yeah, it was around May of 2024 to see how things were under the Biden regime. So tell us, what exactly did you experience, did you see while you were down there?
Well, we were grateful to Senator Phil King from Texas for hosting a delegation of state leaders across the country with Lisa Nelson from ALEC and others. And so I was able to go down to Eagle Pass right in the heat of the Biden border crisis, where states were having to step up and fill the void. States like Texas and Florida were having to step up and fill the void because the federal government was not enforcing our immigration laws.
Right.
And we saw firsthand the effects of that as we witnessed people just pouring across the border. You saw at that time that they come across, there was nowhere to house them. And so the Biden administration would release them right away into the country. At that point, they would have an immigration hearing scheduled, but not for years.
I was going to say, how do you actually, you might be able to schedule, there's a lot of things on my schedule that never actually happened.
Right.
I could imagine coming into this new country, I mean, you've just crossed the Rio Grande, you're probably in a new set of clothes because the ones that you crossed in are completely soaked and wet. You have a general idea of where you're going? Not really. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, if you could show up in 12 months for this hearing, that'd be great.
Yep.
What sort of reality is that?
Yeah, it was amazing to see. So, many states were stepping up into that void. And when we came back, I asked Governor Whitmer, I actually met with her and said, I think we should join them. Governor Whitmer declined that. And it was too bad. But what's great is in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, I see him addressing a lot of the problems we saw when we were in Eagle Pass. The border is secure, but he's building that border wall now. He has the resources to do it. Mm-hmm. They put in there money for new detention centers. So they're going to, in states like Michigan now have contracts for new detention centers. So they're building up to places to safely house all of these illegals that they detain at the border. And then they're hiring many new immigration judges and lawyers. And so that's going to help work through the backlog. So you work through the backlog, you have places to house them, then we can get everyone the hearings they need and deport them, the ones that should be deported. But states like Michigan have been giving free legal aid, taxpayer-funded legal aid to illegal aliens to fight their deportation. Mm-hmm. They have sanctuary policies, which attract illegal aliens.
Of course.
And they have rental subsidies for illegal aliens in states like Michigan. So what we're doing at the state level is we're trying to reverse a lot of those policies that attract illegal aliens to our communities. And I think partnering with President Trump's administration, we're going to see him carry out the largest deportation force in the history of our country. And it's going to really help preserve a lot of these welfare programs so they are solvent for those that they were intended to benefit. They're not supposed to go to illegal aliens. And I think our communities will be safer. We've seen fentanyl crisis in Michigan. We've seen violent crime caused by illegal aliens. And so we welcome President Trump's support for that. And also, I think states like Texas and Florida that had to step up are going to be made whole by President Trump's administration through the One Big Beautiful Bill. They'll get reimbursed because, states were investing, millions and millions of dollars protecting the border when Biden's administration refused.
It's amazing. The one thing that is sticking in my head from what you said is there's the rental assistance overall that is going out there. I'm sure there are plenty of people born and raised, or at least living and working for a while in Michigan that could use a little bit of rental assistance themselves. And I've seen the revolts of the folks in New York, in Chicago, and other cities across the country. It's like, why are we throwing the benefits, the tax dollars that I'm paying when I'm having trouble making my rent, going here to these people who just showed up? There should be a little equality here. There should be a little justice.
You're right. And then when you look at these welfare programs, in states like Michigan, illegal aliens are getting some Medicaid services. You're getting food stamps. They're getting a lot of these services, and so. In President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, they're starting to rein in those things. So in a blue state like Michigan, I can't force Governor Whitmer's administration to administer federal programs properly, but President Trump and the Congress can. And so what we're seeing through these new laws is that work requirements are in place, eligibility checks twice a year, and in some of these programs, we're going to see significant we're going to see penalties if you're not paying out properly.
Right.
In a state like Michigan, our food stamp program, the Whitmer administration is paying out to all kinds of people that are not eligible. Well, this will fine them for doing that, and so it's an incentive for states like Michigan to utilize taxpayer dollars properly, which will end up reducing government spending and ensuring that the resources are available for people that these programs were intended for.
It sounds very simple, and with the actual intent of what you as elected representatives are supposed to be doing in the first place. Okay, real quick, I know you said the roads, I know you're looking at taxes. What's the one thing that you're going to be focusing on for 2026? What's the top of your list?
Well, Governor Whitmer ran on campaigned on fixing the roads and then increased government spending by 43% and did not spend money to fix the roads. And instead handed out billions and billions of dollars to big corporations. Now, we've run an assessment, and all these giveaways, some to companies with ties to the Chinese Communist Party, like Goshen, have created 0 jobs so far. We saw other states that we've talked to here at the ALEC conference where instead of giving all their money to big corporations, they invested in infrastructure and they lowered taxes. And so as we look at that, we want to be competitive with those other states. Just this week, Michigan offered $6 billion to a semiconductor company to come to Michigan. It was the largest incentive offer Michigan's ever made, and we were turned down. They said no.
They want more?
They couldn't make it work. So
$6 billion just doesn't go as far as it used to.
Right. And so I try to explain to Governor Whitmer, that's the cost of our regulatory policies and tax policies. Yeah. I talked to Governor Braun here in Indiana this week, and he said in Indiana, we're focusing on taking care of our existing businesses. And if we take care of our existing businesses by providing good customer service, helping them solve their problems, we can grow our economy that way. And then other people will want to be in a state that's trying to help them solve their problems. So I think our goal as we move forward is to look at what states like Indiana are doing and other states that support ALEC policies. And we're going to try to bring some of that to Michigan, so the checks that Governor Whitmer has to try to send are much smaller and something that will be affordable for the taxpayers of Michigan.
I don't think they could ask for anything more. Well, Speaker Hall, I appreciate you taking the time coming to sit with us here at ALEC 52nd Annual Meeting in Indianapolis.